Hey guys, welcome to the team call. Sorry, I had to get a couple things straightened up to make sure that we could hear everybody okay. So welcome to the Thursday afternoon lunchtime Dynasty United team call. Today is going to be an awesome 30 minutes of your time because we have Shay. Shay Phillips is our guest speaker today, and I am so excited. She's going to be talking to us about the power of persistence. So that's so ironic because she is probably the best person to talk to all of us about this. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. You guys, Shay is a 2014 sign-up coach, and she, oh, my pups are coming to listen to you, Shay, too. So she was an elite coach in 2015. She ranked number 99 out of over 400,000 coaches. She's a 5-star diamond. She's the founder of Lionheart Dynasty. She left her corporate job 9 months into coaching, and then most excitingly, she retired her husband 20 months into coaching. She's a 6-figure earner. She's a Success Club 10 All-Star. So she's got a lot of credibility, a leg to stand on when it comes to this kind of stuff. So Shay, thank you so much for spending a half hour prepping for this call and passing it on to all of Dynasty United, because I know you're passionate about this, and I know you've seen a lot of results and growth in this specific area of persistence. So girl, I'm so proud of you. I can't tell you how honored I am to be able to call myself your coach and friend. So I'm going to pass it on over to you. So you have the full 30 minutes to just give us whatever you've got, and I hope everybody's got paper and pen ready to take some notes. Love you, Shay. Let me pass it on to you, and thank you again for all you do, girl.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm good. Let me know if I'm not good, Britt, and I will start sharing my screen in a second. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I think it's been about like a year since I last spoke on a team call, and it's funny because the last team call was called The Power of Simplicity, I think, or something like that, which is funny. I must really love the word power. I don't know. But a lot of you guys know I'm like introverted by nature, so I'm just as nervous to lead this call as I was a year ago. And I'm even nervous on my own team calls, and my team knows that. So let's get started so we can get through it and maybe get some questions in. So let me start sharing my screen. Give me a thumbs up when you can see my slides. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I might just keep talking. So if there's any issue, just let me know in the chat box. I can see it in a separate window. So, all right, the power of persistency. Great things take time. I hope you guys can see my slides if they're not big enough, but let me know. And I wanted to just quickly tell you some like quick facts about me and my journey quickly, because everyone asks these questions to me and they want to know about it. So right there in that picture, that's my whole world, right? That's my husband. We've been married about 3 years, almost 3 years in July. That's my puppy, King. He's a retired racing greyhound. Awesome little puppy, or big puppy. He's really huge actually, but he's a baby to me. And then obviously you can see my stomach growing. It is, there's a baby boy in there. He is due July 4th, and I'm about 30 weeks pregnant. And for those who don't speak pregnancy language, that's 7 months. So as I'm talking, bear with me. I might like be a little labored and breathing, but it's just because I don't have that much room to breathe anymore. But it's a huge blessing. We're super excited, and that's kind of our life right now. So I just want to quickly run through these quick facts. Graduated college in 2013 with a resort and hospitality management degree. Got my first big girl job like a month later in government contracting, and we got married July 2013. So a lot of big, huge life change happening all at once, right? What I find in this business is that the best people as coaches are the people that are in the transition time. So just keep that in your mind. What happened is about 8 months into my marriage and my job and all those things, I just hated it. Like I hated getting up in the morning. I hated waking up to go to a job I hated being treated the way I was treated there. And I knew I was meant for something more. I really realized that college lied to me. And they said, you're going to go out and do great things and you're going to conquer the world and all these things. And I really believed that, but I was just sitting at a desk, not fulfilling my purpose that I felt was my purpose, and I felt stuck. So Brittany and I had met actually when I was in high school and she was in college. She was a youth leader at a youth retreat for me. And I guess I had followed her for some reason, all that time. And as that time was approaching, as I was hating my job, wanted to move on, I was just praying like, hey, like, Lord, like, bring something to me. Like, I hate this. Tell me what I can do. What is my purpose? What are you calling me to? And for whatever reason, Brittany had started popping up in my feed more. And honestly, guys, like, for the 2 years or a little less than 2 years that I had followed her, she just annoyed the crap out of me. Like, Brittany's annoying. Can you see that on my slide? That's horrible and mean, but she knows that. But that's just the truth. She annoyed me. I didn't like any of her posts. I didn't comment on any of her posts. So she had no idea that I was watching her, but I was. And the reason she annoyed me looking back is that she was so positive, growing like a life of freedom, building this crazy business, which looked appealing and awesome to me. I just didn't believe it was possible. And so for whatever reason, that time in my life, a mentorship post came up on my newsfeed. It's totally the Lord. And I just jumped in and I was like, oh, I can probably do this. I talked to my husband. He was like, it's dumb. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to be successful, just to give you guys some hope. And he was like, but if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. And now my husband's obviously very supportive and totally flipped the script and believes in me like more than I believe in myself. So it's pretty cool. Left in April 2014 and decided that giving up was not an option for our family. Brittany said, I left my job 9 months into coaching, and my husband just left his job in December. So how did I do that? It was truly through persistence. So now our days are home together, leading Lionheart Dynasty while enjoying our puppy, renovating our 100-year-old bungalow. That's our house actually in the background. We are like super DIY fanatics, and we're waiting for our son to arrive July 4th, which does not all sound so Americana. When I typed that out, I was like, that sounds ridiculous. But hey, whatever. When we found out his due date was July 4th, my husband was like, yeah, America. So anyways, kind of dumb. But anyways, that's me. That's my story. That's how I got into this. And so I've been a coach now for 2 years. And so, okay, let's just jump in. And I have to warn you, I'm going to tell you like it is because I care about you guys and I want you to grow and implement and keep going. So you're going to have to be a little interactive with me or this might get a little awkward. So type in the box. I'll continue to talk because I know it's a little bit of a delay. But interact with each other. That's the point of these live broadcasts. That's the point of getting on calls live. So interact. All right, so first, I must ask you, have you asked yourself, why do things never work out for me? Why do I never succeed while others do? Why do some people reach their goals while I don't? Have you asked yourself that? You can type in the box or not, but it'd be cool if you did. And after you kind of answer that question, my next question to you would be, how long have you tried Beachbody coaching? Like seriously tried. Great things take time. You at least in all capitals, have to give your all in this business consistently for 1 year. Like do your power hour every day for 1 year. Like seriously, have you tried that? Maybe you haven't even been a coach for a year. Do you give up when it gets hard? When life gets hard or you hit an obstacle, or maybe you get pregnant or other medical, work, family issues, etc. comes up, do you give up? Do you give up when it gets off? When it gets hard, not off, sorry. Okay, so persistence, the definition of persistence means firm or obstinate continuance in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Persistence means, to me, the will behind consistency. And we all know that consistency is the daily things is what we need to build a long-term, huge growth in this business. So I want you guys to be thinking about those questions while I'm speaking and just kind of like processing that and really asking yourself those hard questions because we are the ones, most people have to ask us the hard questions for us to really look at ourselves in a mirror. So be thinking through those as we're talking. So I'm all about lists and points. So I want to cover 5 reasons you aren't persistent in your business and then give you 5 solutions to be persistent. Because we always want to be solution-oriented and not wallow in our suckiness, even though that might be the reality for us in those questions. I don't care. Let's be solution-minded and move forward. Because everyone that is successful in this business has had to make that decision to be solution-oriented and to keep going. All right, so here we go. 5 reasons you aren't persistent as a Beachbody coach. You try, but you don't keep trying. Yeah, that's scary. How true is that? It isn't going to work the first time, maybe not the 5th time, maybe not the 100th time. You're going to fail. You're going to. So get over it. No one will show up to coach webinars. My coach Serena posted last night in our group about how she did her first sneak peek and literally no one showed up. There was 0 interaction and all of that. But what she said was, I don't care. I'm going to continue to fail forward and keep going because I know that it will work one day. And I was just so proud in that moment. But it's so true. You got to keep going. Your challenge groups will suck until you figure out your rhythm. You have to keep adding to your market and inviting daily or your business will flop. You can't stop and start. That will be your Achilles heel in this business. The more you do something, the better you get at it, but it still doesn't mean it's easy. How many of you guys have seen a physical transformation with a Beachbody program? Like, whatever, totally just type in the box. I'm just gonna let you guys keep talking as I speak. Did you see results by just sort of kind of trying? I don't think so. You saw results with consistent and persistent effort and it didn't get easier. Not at all, right? You just got stronger. Like that's the only change that happened. And you just got better at the diligence that it took each day to see those results. So that's point number 1. Number 2 kind of floods from number 1. What comes easily normally isn't worth it. I mean, we can relate this back to your fitness analogy, right? If you have seen results, it's because you worked really hard and it wasn't easy and it was totally worth it, but it was super hard. And it continues to be a daily battle. I'm sure it's like the hardest thing for me to do is like work out and eat healthy. That's like probably the hardest part of my business. So why do we usually stop being persistent? Usually boredom, frustration, difficulty, and the temptation to do something easier, right? Like that's the thing that stops us from being persistent. So you're going to have to get uncomfortable and you're going to have to sacrifice sleep, time, TV shows, and so on to make it happen if you really want this. If you're not willing to sacrifice that, then you really don't want this. And I'm just going to like drop that truth because it's true. All right, number 3. Let's keep moving. You aren't learning, growing, and implementing. Basically, you aren't coachable. If Lindsay, Matway, Brittany Leggett, myself, and your upline have told you that doing your power hour every day and getting Success Club every month builds a 6- and 7-figure business, and we are proof of that, why don't you do it? Woo! You can answer that in the chat box too if you want. You aren't learning, growing internally, and maybe if you are learning and growing internally in personal development on team calls, which is great, you might not be implementing. You have to follow through with each piece of that puzzle or it's not going to work. Aha moments are great. Admiring someone for their business is great, but if you do nothing with that, then nothing happens. So you've got to take those aha moments and turn them into action moments. All right, so number 4. This is a big one. You don't expect life or business to suck sometimes, right? It's going to suck. You're going to be busy. Like I know some of you are working full-time moms and you're, have crazy life stuff happening. You have, physical things happening. So many of us are sharing so boldly in the hard things that we're going through in our life to give hope to our followers, but we continue to push forward. So you're going to have to grow and, adapt and be flexible. You're not going to change that goal when junk hits. You're just going to change that approach, right? So I'm going to share something with you. Don't be an optimist. And you're probably like, what? Like, don't be an optimist. Like, you're really negative, Shay. Wow. But I want to share something with you. Jim Collins writes about this in his book, Good to Great. It's called the Stockdale Paradox. I just want to read you this excerpt really quick. The Stockdale Paradox is named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, who was a United States military officer held captive for 8 years during the Vietnam War. Stockdale was tortured more than 20 times by his captors and never had much reason to believe he would survive the prison camp and someday get to see his wife again. And yet, as Stockdale told Collins, he never lost faith during his ordeal. This is a quote from him. I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which in retrospect, I would not trade. Then comes the paradox. While Stockdale had remarkable faith in the unknowable, he noted that it was always the most optimistic of his prison mates who failed to make it out of there alive. They were the ones who said, we're going to be out by Christmas, and Christmas would come and go. Then they'd say, we're going to be out by Easter, and Easter would come and go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again, and then died of a broken heart. What the optimists failed to do was confront the reality of their situation. They preferred the ostrich approach, sticking their heads in the sand and hoping for the difficulties to go away. That self-delusion might have made it easier on them in the short term, but when they were eventually forced to face reality, it had become too much and they couldn't handle it. Stockdale approached adversity with a very different mindset. He accepted the reality of the situation. He knew he was in hell, but rather than bury his head in the sand, he stepped up and did everything he could to lift the morale and prolong the lives of his fellow prisoners. He created a tapping code so that he could communicate with each other, so they could communicate with each other. He developed a milestone system that helped them deal with torture. He sent intelligence information to his wife, hidden in the seemingly innocent letters he wrote. Collins and his team observed a similar mindset to the good to great companies. They labeled it the Stockdale paradox, and it's described as so. You must retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, you must confront the brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Number 5, last one, well, for this part. You don't trust or believe the process works. So that's like a big one. You don't trust that your why is possible with simple building blocks of coaching. Or, this comes from Christine, she wrote on my post the other day, you don't have enough at stake, or it isn't life-changing enough, your why that is, or you don't care to work hard enough to make it happen. The only way that I made it here 2 years later is that I trusted that what got me to Emerald would get me to Diamond, would get me to 1-star, would get me to 5-star, would get me to Elite, would retire my husband, the same activities, and I trusted that process day in and day out. So remember, guys, like I'm here 2 years later. Some of you are just starting out. So it's going to take 2 years of growth to see where I have been, or where Brittany's been 3 years later, or where someone's been 6 months later. But know that it was day in and day out, and I just trusted that process. Okay. Now, those are the 5 reasons you aren't persistent. Let's move on to the 5 solutions to be persistent, to be a persistent Beachbody coach. Oh, some people having some difficulty with the thing. I'm going to keep going. Okay, 5 solutions to be a persistent Beachbody coach. All right, so these are the flip side of the negatives, right? You keep trying no matter what the results are. It's so easy, guys, to not trust this process and to get bogged down and to only see that you're making $60 the first month, and the next month you're only making $80, and it's like, what the heck? I'm working so hard. But what happens with the compound of that and the persistency in that is life-changing, is remarkable, if I can just speak from experience myself. So you have to keep going no matter the results. And can I just let you know a secret? It's not going to work the first time, like we talked about before. You will have to keep going, and you have to have the mindset that giving up is simply not an option. That's like literally what I say all the time, and that's what I told myself every single day in this business. Even in the really hard days where 4 challengers would go with other coaches, and 2 coaches would sign up with other coaches, or my challenge groups were getting nothing, and I was at Success Club 3 at the April 28th of the month, whatever it was. Giving up wasn't an option. I chose to keep going. All right. Number 2, be disciplined in doing the unsexy things daily. And this unsexy term, I actually stole from Taylor Smith, which I hope you're on this call, Taylor. She spoke on one of my team calls, and I just love that she used that word unsexy. But you have to be okay with doing the unsexy things each day to move forward. You have to have a schedule, have a set time to do your power hour and the 3 behaviors. Let everyone that you know that you care about in your life that this is a time for your business. Get them done and be disciplined. I don't care what it takes. Read the book, Eat That Frog. Try a million different schedules to see what works for you, but never stop doing the vitals every day. You can be disciplined in the unsexy, harder, boring things like inviting. You can do it. You have to. You have to do it if you're going to be successful in this business. You have to be persistent in the discipline of doing those unsexy things. So be disciplined in doing the unsexy things, and have a plan for it. And your upline, I'm sure, can help you figure out what that plan is. But let me just tell you, the plan is the power hour. Just do the power hour every single day and don't get distracted. Stay in that hour, use the Pomodoro effect, and just do that every day. Keep going. That's how I quit my job, guys. That's it. That's really the tool. That's actually how I got to elite too. And if you really want to just get down to it, that's how it happens for you. So you got to be disciplined in doing those things. Okay. Number 3. Nope. Yep. No, number 3. Show up every single day. Yes, this relates to my previous point, but this means a little more. So this means to me, showing up every single day means not only showing up to your business, but showing up to be a part of the team every day. Did you notice how many times I mentioned other coaches along the way in this call? That's because I show up every day and I've learned from them. I don't care what part of their journey they're on. I'm still going to learn from people that are behind me, ahead of me, 25 million steps ahead of me. I don't care. I show up daily to learn from each one of them. I show up live to calls because I see the value in connecting with people like you guys are doing in the chat box right now. I see it. I just am trying not to look at it too much because I'll get distracted. And you know what's great about this? When you show up every single day, when you're known on your team, when you share resources, when you love on people, and don't spend a bazillion amount of time on this, but you need to grow and learn with these people and connect with them, because what happens is when life does suck and when things do happen and when your business is hard, that team is going to rally around you. When life gets tough, which brings me to my next point. Number 4, make a plan for when blank hits the fan. Insert whatever word you want there. I'm not going to judge you for it, but it's so true. You have to have a plan ahead of time to make sure that you are, life's going to happen, right? Life is going to happen. Crap, whatever is going to hit the fan. But you got to have a plan on what you're going to do during this time. Sarah Crook, I asked this question in a group the other day, and she commented on something we were chatting about with persistence, saying, you don't have to do everything, but you have to do something when life sucks, right? Do not become frozen when life happens, and it will. Life will happen. So know that to have a plan now, and even if that's just doing the bare minimum each day, which hint is the vitals. So that's doing your workout, that's doing your Shakeology. That's really inviting. That's the bare minimum you can do, and that's what you can be prepared for when stuff does hit the fan. Adopt the Stockdale paradox. You must retain faith that you'll prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties. And at the same time, you must confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. So adopt that paradox. It's such an awesome thing to think through, and maybe a little negative, but I kind of like it because my personality is a little bit more that way. But it's true. If you're too positive and you're too rosy, glasses full, that doesn't make sense, but you guys know what I'm saying. You're not going to face the reality of what your current situation is. So you must prevail through all of that and retain the faith. All right, number 5. Kind of going through this faster than I thought, so that's okay. We'll have a little bit extra time maybe to talk. Number 5, passionately trust the process that will get you to your goals. Guys, you have the magic formula. You really do. It is the 3 vital behaviors through the power hour every single day. Keep doing the same things to get to your next goal and passionately connect it with your why. I ask my team this all the time. Is an hour of your day worth the discipline and sacrifice for your why? Is it worth that? And obviously most of them are like, yeah, definitely, obviously, duh. And I'd have to think about it that way, right? I have to think about doing my power hour every single day and saying, this is worth the sacrifice and the discipline for my future family, or this is worth the discipline and the sacrifice for paying off massive amounts of debt. Whatever your why is, insert it there. Is it worth it? And if it's not worth it, and that's a heart check. You got to check yourself there, and you got to really question your why. Is it deep enough? Is it passionate enough? Is it, I don't know, whatever enough? I don't even know. But just make sure that you are passionately trusting this process. And by passionately, I mean you have no other option but making Beachbody coaching work for you and your family, because that is it. Giving up simply not an option. So this is what I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust the process that my coach is teaching me, and I'm going to implement it. Don't just listen with deaf ears. Implement it. So that's number 5. All right. So 5 solutions to being persistent. That's them. All right, so action time. Like, and when I say action time, this is not call to action time. This is like, do it right now. Like right this second on this call as we are live. Pull out a notebook, type, I don't care, like type on stickies or notes on your phone or whatever. Do it now. Just grab something, like right now. Sorry, I'm being kind of bossy. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. Hopefully the writing isn't too small. But I want you to so this is not me saying not to focus on the end of April, because I want you to give your 100% the end of April. But I bet if you do these practices towards the end of April, you'll get to your goals. So for April. But I want you guys to name 3 goals, write them down on paper, or type them, because there's going to be more to this. Obviously, you can see them. Name 3 goals you want to achieve in the month of May, and why. Make it deep. So an example of that can be help 5 people with a challenge pack by May 15th. And oh, by the way, if you're not getting Success Club and you're a business builder coach, that has to be one of your goals. Like, it actually absolutely has to be. Also from Taylor Smith, she had said on one of our team calls, she's like, if you are not getting Success Club 5 every single month, you are a hobby coach. Don't label yourself as a builder. Holy crap, how good is that, guys? Like, that was so good. Anyways, let me go back to my example. As you're writing this out, I'm just going to tell you my example. So you're actively writing, right, guys? Help 5 people with a challenge pack by May 15th, finish my personal development book by the end of the month, and add 3 new coaches to my team training because the discipline and sacrifice is worth my family's financial goals and our continued freedom. That's what mine would be. You can implement whatever ending cap you want to put on there, but make it like personal, make it deep. Make it more than like, well, my pride will be hurt if I don't get Success Club. No, it needs to be like, it's worth it. Like, my family's worth it. My uncomfortability is worth it. Like, all these things are worth it because I'm doing it for this eventual goal. And number 2, tell me how you're going to do it. Write it down. How are you going to get Success Club by the 15th, if that's your goal? How are you going to finish that personal development book? Goodness gracious. Write out like 10 minutes a day, 4 chapters a day, whatever you need to do to get it done. Work backwards. Tell me how you're going to do those things. Just a couple other things. If you want to invite a certain amount of people to your team, how many people will you invite off your list every week? Put a number to it. And just like a quick hint, start now. Like, do those things now, especially if you haven't locked in Success Club for April. All right. As you're writing these things, and yeah, share them in that's awesome, Cassie. Share them in the chat. That's awesome, and that would be really cool. Anyways, what am I saying? Okay, once you've done all of those things, send them to your upline. Send 1 and 2 to your upline, like literally right now on this call. Like, I don't want you doing this later. I don't want you putting this off. I want you to do it right now, because it's what happens is with a lot of us is we don't implement in the moment. We wait until later, and that's the problem with call to action. Sometimes they're a call to action, they're not an action. So we need to do them right in a second so that we're held accountable. So anyways, send that to your upline right now. You can take a picture of it. If it's on paper, you can screenshot it. If it's on your phone, you can literally send a note. Whatever you need to do, send it to them right now. Maybe you take a little extra time after we get off the call to like clean it up or whatever. That's fine. But you need to send it within 5 to 10 minutes after the call. And I'm like pretty diligent on that one. So go ahead and do it. All right, so I'm gonna keep talking. So you guys work on that as I finish talking, and I don't have that much more to say. So for coaches, as those people send you those things, and obviously I know some of you guys are listening to recording. Seriously, do this along with the recording though, if you are. For coaches that are getting those messages from other coaches, and this will be twofold and go both ways, right? I want to ask you to keep them accountable. I want you to ask them questions through May, and I want you to listen. I want you to listen and ask questions and listen to what they say. Hold them to it and show them persistency in your own business for the month of May. They're giving you their word that they're going to do this. So hold them to it. And I don't mean like in a beating them kind of way. I literally just mean like, how you doing on this? Like, where are you at? How much closer do you need to be? Are you doing what you're saying you're going to be doing? Like, just questions like that. And love on them. Give them love and support and show them persistency in your own business by achieving your own goals. Maybe coaches, you make a thread in your coach group and you keep each other accountable for the month of May. I don't know what it is for you, but I would 100% encourage that. So just in closing, great things take time, guys, years even, but I want you to know, I want you to see how being persistent, I want you to see how being persistent in the pursuit of your business in just 1 month's time, no matter what life throws at you, can do. So as you're creating these goals, guys, like, you're committing that no matter what happens in the month of May, that you are going to follow through with them, because it's worth it. The discipline and the sacrifice is worth it. Imagine what great things can happen in a year's time if you can achieve such great things in a month's time. So that's what I want to say in closing. Persistency is kind of a hard thing to like flesh out in just a 30-minute call because it's something that takes time, right? You're going to have to practice this. So that's why I want you guys to practice this in May, and then you're going to practice it in June and July and August and all the way towards the end of the year through next year. And you're going to be here a year from now because you are persistent and you do care about your goals and you do have a lot at stake for you and your family or whatever blank why you have. So anyways, thank you guys so much for letting me share. I'm going to stop talking now. Hopefully that was on time. And I don't know if we have time for questions, Britt, but like, just let me know. I can take my screen share off. 1 to 2 questions? Okay. All right, if anyone does have questions, if not, totally cool. Won't be offended. Yeah, repeat. You're so right. Let me turn my camera back on. Oh, I turned it off. Sorry. Look at me, I'm like all red. See, I get nervous, guys. True that, Lauren. I love Laura. I love that. Sorry, I called you Lauren. All right. Okay, well, if there is no questions, I'll give it like just a second because I know it is delayed. Oh, you're welcome, guys. Thank you for coming and showing up. That's always my biggest fear, like no one's going to show up. But hey, I keep going anyways. Can I tell you how many times people have not shown up to my team calls, coach webinars, challenge groups, all of those things? 100 million times. I'm not a genius. I'm not a genius. Literally, if you guys listen, these are all things I've learned from other people and coaches and in personal development and trial and error, my own experience. So anyways, what book did you read your excerpt from? Oh, that's From Good to Great by Jim Collins. Oh, such a good book. So good. Yeah, Brittany got it. If you're getting to the end of the month and not hitting your goals, how do you keep going? That's not our question. But Cassidy also has a question about, oh, okay. Oh, I see it. Okay, let me go to Sydney's first. You sacrifice. You sacrifice sleep, you sacrifice time, you stay up late, you do everything that you can in your power to reach that goal. You're like, well, I'm doing the same thing every day and I'm still not hitting the goal. Well, it might take a little bit more effort this month. It might take inviting 10 more people a day. It might take whatever, fill in the blank. So for me, if I'm not reaching that goal, and guys, I don't reach every goal every month, obviously. But, you know, important goals like Success Club and all of those things are non-negotiable for me. So I work 100% times harder to reach those goals. I have no excuses. So that's kind of how I do it. And you know what? A lot of people ask me, like, what do you do when you just feel like you're stuck in a rut and you can't get out of it and blah, blah, blah. And I never say personal development because you should be already doing that anyways. All I do, guys, is I get super uncomfortable. I do something that's really hard for me, which is usually inviting related. So I invite that person that really scares me, or I just get bold with what I'm saying on social media, or I go live in a video, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. Cassie. So do you all send invites to, oh, I don't know if you're talking to her, Britt. So do you all send invites to random people on your friends list, even if you've never talked to them? I am sure, Brittany, I don't know who your coach is, sorry. But no, I form the relationship. I get to know them. I get to kind of see their needs or, you know, what they need in their life, understanding where they're at, and all of those kind of things. Before I straight up invite them personally. That's what I do. So I'm sure Brittany has like tons of training on that. Great team calls on that. So, oh, good. Awesome. Okay. So you're going to learn that in coach training. You got it. So no, I do not just invite randos. Well, I do because I don't really know them that well, but I developed a relationship with them. All right. So I'm going to close it out because we are getting really close to the time. But I love you guys. Thank you so much. This team means so, so much to me. Brittany has changed my life, my family's life, my unborn child's life, and I can't wait to just continue to just like be on this team and be a part of it. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye y'all. Let me know if you have any questions in the group page, so I'll be in there.